All right, welcome guys. Happy Thursday. I know you're all super excited for this game tonight. Obviously, we have Panthers and Texans. Going to be an uglier one, most likely, with Texans being one of the worst teams in the league. They're playing with a backup quarterback. Carolina's 2-0. They're not that good of a team either. So, yeah, this game is going to be a bit ugly, but there's still $1 million to be made in the Millie Maker, and I'll do my best to break it down. So, again, this live stream we're talking about general Q&A, so make sure to leave some questions in the chat. Hope you guys had a good Monday night. Monday night slate went really well for me. I went, value in the captain and team jam events. So I played St. Brown in the captain, but the three main Green Bay guys with Goff and then Trinity Benson. So all in all, it was a really solid day for myself. As far as this showdown goes, so again, we got the back quarterback, Davis Mills. He's not a mobile quarterback at all. He's cheap. The question is, what do you do with him? I think it could go either way, right? He's cheap enough where he's definitely viable, but he's also Davis Mills, and this is the Texans. And he didn't look great when he came in for T-Mobile, Tyrod Taylor. Now, one thing I want to bring up here is I always try to avoid groupthink in GPPs, right? So what the consensus is, I usually try to go the opposite way. So the consensus from everything I've seen, everything I've heard too, is you can't play Christian McCaffrey in the captain and get unique tonight. That's the consensus. That's everything I've seen on Twitter, everything I've heard on YouTube. I wholeheartedly disagree with that. You can easily get different with CMC in the captain. Now, let's see, where was I? So, literally, someone's asking 0 or 100% CMC? 0. 0. 0. 0%. 0 will provide better leverage. 0. I hope a lot of people play him at captain. That's all I have to say. 0. 0%. 0. 0. I was the only one that said 100%. 0. The captain lineups are going to be forced to almost all look the same, right? So that is the consensus, is you can't play Christian McCaffrey in the captain tonight and get different. Again, wholeheartedly disagree with that. You can easily get different. There's a ton of viable value plays in the slate, a ton of cheap wide receivers. You have all the tight ends, the kickers, easily get different. You can leave a little bit of salary on the table. So that's just a take I completely disagree with. But again, I'm the only one that said 100%, and I avoid groupthink. Every single person said 0%. And everything I've heard, too, is you can't get different as CMC in the captain. I think that's a mistake. That just, that's my take on the matter. But yeah, guys, let's get into some questions. So Vegas totals, we can go over that really quick. 43 over under. Panthers are 9-point favorites. So, a Panthers onslaught build is going to be popular tonight. I don't mind that. We're at kind of like a 5-1 Panther stack. But yeah, leave some questions in the chat. Let's get it. Make sure if you enjoy, if you could, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Closing in the 10,000 subscriber mark. Yeah, the Texans backfield, that is going to be absolutely disgusting. Four-headed monster. You guys already know Mark Ingram's going for like 20 carries, 30 yards, and 2 touchdowns tonight. Lock that in. I'm going to be so tilted about that. Let's see. All right. CMC or Cook's captain? CMC. You can get different with him in the captain. What's going on, Samuel? How's it going, man? Yeah, Texans backfield. So the Texans have 4 guys that will play, right? We have Mark Ingram, we have Philip Lindsay, David Johnson, and Rex Burkhead has played a little bit last 3 games. Right? Let's just take a look at the snap counts here for Houston. So this was last game, 43% David Johnson, 23% Philip Lindsay, 18% Rex Burkhead, and 31% Mark Ingram. It is absolutely disgusting. Let's see. Panthers, D, and Conley, or Ingram and Brown? Panthers, D, and Conley, or Ingram? Oh, I don't really want to play Ingram. So I'd rather go the other one. What's going on, Orkan? What do you think of playing Anthony Miller or Conley at captain and jamming in the studs? I don't think it's necessary on this slate. This is not a slate where we have like a ton of studs, like Monday, like the Green Bay studs or the Kansas City and Baltimore studs, right? There is a lot more firepower in those showdown slates, not as much in this one. So could it work? Sure, anything is possible, but I don't like that build as much in this slate. Chris Moore, Anthony Miller. For me, it's Anthony Miller. Chris Moore is active. He is active for Houston. But if you take a look at the depth chart, you have Anthony Miller right now is ahead of him. They've been hyping up Anthony Miller this week. They said he's been having a good practice. And they also traded. They traded to get Anthony Miller. So I was talking about this a little bit in the Discord. I think it's Anthony Miller. Now, could it be Chris Moore? Sure. Coaches do dumb stuff, right? You never know. Moore could get more snaps. I would be surprised. But, yeah, if I had to pick between those two, I feel more confident with Miller. Anderson over Moore. I mean, if you take a look at pricing, it's a little bit easier to get Robbie Anderson, right? He's 7.8 as opposed to DJ Moore at 10.6. That might lower the ownership a little bit more in DJ Moore. You think Atkins, I think he'll be middle security blanket. Both tight ends are fine for Houston. They're both cheap. Farrah Brown and Akins. Akins had 2 targets last couple games. Farrah Brown had, I think, 5 the first game, 1 the second game. Both played over 50% of snaps last game. So, yeah, those are 2 viable punt plays. 2 I feel good about either. Not really. Arnold looking good. Cleveland tight ends. Yeah, I'm fine with Arnold. Now, the one thing I'll say about Arnold is he's not going to play a ton of snaps most likely. Or he did only play 29% of snaps. But when he's out there, he's going to run routes, right? He's not really a blocking tight end. So, yeah, for me, it's Miller. So Conley or Miller? Miller more upside. Conley's the safer play, right? Expect him to play more. And they're going to play a decent amount of 2 wide receiver sets, and I expect that to be Cooks, Conley, and the outside. With, some 2 tight end sets, obviously, with Akins and Farrah Brown. But when they do go 3 wide receiver sets, I assume it's going to be Miller. So, the safer play is for sure Conley. Now, if you're talking ownership, I'm fine going to Miller. But he's a risk, right? He's been inactive the first couple weeks, so there is an unknown, right? Is there a chance that Chris Moore plays over him? Possible. Coaches do dumb stuff. DJ Moore been solid. Yeah, DJ Moore's been really good. How much money to leave to be unique? I mean, if you leave over a couple $1,000, you're gonna have a pretty unique lineup. Yeah, I'll go over my favorite captain, all that stuff. Optimal build where I like going to get different over on Patreon if that's something that interests you. CMC captain, 2 cheap Texans, pass catchers, fading Cooks is instantly different. Well, I don't think Cooks is going to be that popular. At least I don't think so. I know he's gotten a ton of targets, Brandon Cooks, but my guess is I think the Panthers receiver is going to be more popular than him. Is there any logic to fade Darnold? You can make an argument for it. He's going to be popular. The way that works out, I think, is if CMC punches in a couple on the ground, and then, obviously the Texans will be playing from behind. So it's possible. It's definitely a risky fade, though. Not something I feel super good about. Captain, you have Conley captain. Okay, it's like a jam him in with Mills, Cooks, McCaffrey, Dalton, Marshall. Again, it's possible that works out, but I don't like the stars as much besides CMC on this slate as I did, with the Green Bay game, with the Kansas City-Baltimore game. Do you think Terrence Marshall, do you like Terrence Marshall and the captain? I do like Terrence Marshall. I think he could have a breakout game tonight. He's a rookie. He's played over 50% of the snaps the first couple games, and he played really well in the preseason. He was someone I played a lot in preseason DFS. I think he's got a lot of upside. So I do like him. Sure, you can go there in the captain. It'll be different. You're hoping Anthony Miller's low owned. I don't think he's going to be super popular. I would guess Conley is going to get more ownership. Now, obviously, again, the risk with Anthony Miller, there's no guarantee of playing time. There isn't. He is, number 3 on the depth chart, but you just don't know. Yeah, coaches do dumb stuff all the time. So, yeah. CMC captain with Conley, Gonzalez, David Johnson, Anderson, and Sam Darnold. It'll be a different lineup. Yeah, I'm in the Millie Maker. I might enter one more tournament, but again, you guys know by now if you watch my live streams this year for NFL Showdowns, I play to get different. So I'm not trying to build optimal lineups. I'm not trying to use all my salary. I'm mainly playing large field tournaments and just trying to get different, trying to hit that big win. If you're playing just one lineup in a single entry GBP, CMC captain, or I would play CMC in the captain, yeah. Robbie and Panthers defense, or Arnold, the tight end, and Cooks. I my issue with the Panthers defense is I think they're going to be a little bit over-owned. I think they're fine in GPPs, but I would feel actually a little bit better about the second one. Cooks or Moore. I would rather go DJ Moore than Cooks. Just feel better about the quarterback play. All right, big question mark is Davis Mills. I don't think he's going to be great, but again, he's cheap. So, like, another situation where how popular you think Davis Mills is going to be, I don't think that popular. Maybe 30% or so, maybe a little more. Again, when Andy Dalton was on the Showdown slate last week, he was like 20%. Inspiration, I wish I had enough. Was you wondering, what do you do as a job? Thanks, man. Appreciate that. I actually do this full time. How popular do you think he will be at captain? Are you talking about CMC? I would say probably in the mid-30s, maybe up to 40%. That's my guess. Kickers going off, ugly game, field goal galore. Sure, kickers are always relatively safe value plays. You saw in the Washington-New York game, both kickers were in the winning lineup. Marshall or Sly? So the upside play is Marshall. Sly he's the Texans kicker, right? Yeah. So I think you could argue Sly's probably a little bit safer, but I like the upside way more on Marshall. Because obviously he's a guy that can catch a touchdown, right? Sly, you're going to need like 3-4 field goals for him to have a real upside game. Panthers D, a captain. So in GPPs, like, sure, I think that the Panthers onslaught, that's where that build makes some sense. Backup quarterback, Panthers D has been good. Offensive line's not great for Houston. So if you want to throw that in GPPs, I think that's fine. What about Miller and Conley in the same lineup? I think it's doable. To play both those punt receivers. The issue, again, Conley I think is pretty secure in his role. The only thing I'll say about Miller is he hasn't played first couple games. You never know. The Texans could do something dumb and play like Chris Moore over him or Andre Roberts. I don't think that's going to happen, but play Mills to get different. You CMC captain. So, yeah, I think Mills will be relatively low owned. It's a risk. He didn't look great last game. He's a backup. This is Houston. So, like, it's not something you're going to feel good about. I think the reason you go to Mills is ownership. Which Houston tight end? It's a good question. I actually don't know if I have one that I prefer. Both have had about the same targets. Farrell Brown a couple more. He only had one target last game. I think it's basically a coin flip. Like, you want me to? I'm not going to lie to you. I think it's basically a coin flip. If you go to tight ends, they both played 62% of the snaps. I really don't have a strong take on that. I would be lying if I said I did. You got Mills in. Yeah, again, I think the reason you go to him is ownership. I think the popular build will be the Panthers onslaught. Guys, do not get cute if you're playing one line. Play CMC captain. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, but everyone on Twitter disagrees. So let's see. Is it smart to go Carolina defense and Houston kicker? It will get you a different lineup. Usually, like for me, I rarely play defenses in the Showdown slates, and I rarely play the kickers too. But that's just because I'm like shooting for upside, so I'm willing to go to like a lower owned wide receiver and hope they get in the end zone. That's just the way I play it. So like that's not a build I love, but if it's a super ugly game that could work out, Mills, Gonzalez, or Moore and Miller. Yeah, I think the Moore Miller one looks. That just has way more upside in my opinion than going with a backup quarterback and a kicker as opposed to two wide receivers. I just think the second one has way more upside. Low scoring game, I could see Gonzalez going off in field goals. Sure, I think he looks a little bit better, the Panthers kicker, Gonzalez, just because I'm more confident in that offense. David Johnson could break the slate more so than Ingram. The Texans backfield is ugly. Now, David Johnson has been playing a lot of the third down snaps, so like he's out there for passing down situations, which I think is a boost. Obviously, PPR. I think he's their best pass catching back as well. Sorry, I can't talk. So if I had to play a Texan back, probably would be David Johnson. CMC, Robbie, Conley, Miller, Mills, and more. Okay. Arnold or Gonzalez? Again, the upside play is definitely Dan Arnold. The safer play is Gonzalez. So, yeah, like Arnold can get in the end zone. Again, he didn't play a lot of snaps last game, but he still had 3 catches on 4 targets. So if he can get in the end zone, he has more upside. But the kicker, I think, is safer play. David Johnson, that's bold. That's bold when you got 4 running backs you're going to play. You never know. You never know. But yeah, it's hard for me to feel confident about David Johnson, the captain. Anderson or Mills? So, like, that's a tough one, right? Like, I'm trying to decide what the ownership's going to be. I would think Anderson gets more ownership than Mills. I could be wrong, but I just feel like a lot of people are going to go that Panthers onslaught build. So, like, if Anderson's going to be... Like, Anderson, I think, has more upside. Mills has a little bit of a higher floor. That's a tough one. It's a tough one for me. Anderson captain with CMC, Moore, Darnold, Miller, and Conley. I think that's fine. CMC 40% captain, 60% too low. Yeah, I think he'll be around 40. I think he'll be maybe a little bit lower than 40% captain. You never know. The field sometimes outsmarts itself. Maybe CMC is going to be like 30% the captain. Don't think Mills would be a factor until the end of the game. The positive, I think, with Davis Mills is should be negative game script. Like, same thing I said about Jared Goff last slate was going to be playing from behind. Now, that wasn't the case for a lot of the game, right? The Lions are actually in the lead at halftime. But then in the second half, you had the Lions forced to air it out. So, like, that's what I think kind of happens here, is more in the second half that the Texans will have to air it out more. Robbie and Marshall or Moore and Conley. Probably the first one for me. Yeah, Tori, I went over this. Like, someone asked 0 or 100% CMC. Literally every single person said 0. 0, 0, 0, 0. People said you can't get different. Like, what did this guy say? The captain lineup's going to be forced to almost all look the same. I was the only one that said 100%. So, again, I try to avoid groupthink there. Cooks or Anderson. If you... Point per dollar, I think it's going to be Anderson for me. Who a captain if I'm not putting CMC at captain? That's a good question. I think you can go to one of those Panthers wide receivers, but I like the CMC captain build. Is Cooks double covered? Who's Mills' second option he throws to? It's a good question. I wish I knew that. You got the two wide receivers and Conley and Miller and both tight ends. So there's no clear like second play there from Houston. And 4 running backs too. So had Amendola for the primetime slate. Who should I target to replace him for the Monday, Thursday? Probably either Conley or Miller. If you have the salary for Conley, I don't know what the salaries there are. Cook's a captain. You can play all the dudes. Yeah, Cooks has upside. The downside is his quarterback, but he did have 14 targets last game. So, upside play. Do I think he continues to average 20 fantasy points a game? I don't. I don't think Cooks is going to continue to get 10-plus targets a game. I like Mills and Miller and Conley and Jam in the CMC. Okay, that's good with me. What's your prediction on the combined total yards for Panthers and Texans? That's a good question. I don't have a good answer for that. Brandon Cooks as captain. Way to get different. Basically anything other than CMC captain will be relatively unique. CMC captain, Conley, Cooks, Moore, Marshall, Sly, good. I'm fine with that. I was looking for CMC, Cooks, Mills, Anderson, Conley, Miller. I think that's fine. People tripping. Hey, everyone has their opinion. That's fine. Again, I like that. I like seeing that everyone's saying they'd rather go 0% CMC captain. Makes me feel better. I see Matt captain, Darnold, Mills, Ingram, Miller, Brown. Okay. CMC captain, Darnold, Conley, Marshall, Moore, Miller. How about straight up Cooks or Anderson? Probably Cooks. 3-headed Texans monster GPP. Okay, here's another way I think you get different in tournaments. Since a 5-1 Carolina stack or 4-2 Carolina stack is going to be pretty popular, maybe you go 3-3, right? You don't have to go crazy and go a 5-1 Houston stack, but maybe you get 3 Texans in there. I don't think that's going to, 4-2 or 5-1 Panthers is going to be very popular. Very, very popular. Let's see. What else? Again, I talked about the Houston backfield a little bit. It's gross, right? You have Ingram. Ingram's going to be the guy that gets the majority of the carries, I would say. He got 26 carries week 1. That was them playing from ahead. He's washed. How is Mark Ingram at this point in his career getting this so many carries? I don't know. But I'm so ready for him to just punch in 2 touchdowns. I'm going to be so tilted. Again, he's going to have a 15-carry, 30-yard, 2-touchdown game. And I'm going to be tilting hard. Think you're leaving about 4K. I think it's doable. Cooks or Mills. It's the upside play is definitely Cooks there. You do fantasy football in league. I'm in one league. Yeah, one league with my friends. But I did one best ball too. That was it. Just a $20 entry. Actually in first place right now in that. But it's only 2 weeks in. My two quarterbacks were, I wanted to prioritize the running quarterbacks. I have Kyler and Hurts as my two quarterbacks in best ball. I have Hurts too in my league. Best play under 3,700. I don't know if there's a best play. And I'll talk about where I want to prioritize my value over on Patreon and where kind of I want to go for a build. But yeah, I don't think there's like a clear play. If you're playing three lineups, is it worth to fade CMC? If you're playing three lineups, is it worth to fade CMC? And one of them, C-Mac must be 95% owned. Like completely fade him. I think the way Christian McCaffrey fails tonight is he gets injured. So what are the odds he gets injured? Maybe around 5%. I don't know. I think that's the way he fails. Mills captain yellow. It'll be unique. Roberts a captain. Be careful. Be careful with Roberts. So yeah, he's cheap. He's $600. But he played snaps last week because they had no other options, right? You go look at Houston, their wide receivers. Two guys got injured, Amendola and Nico Collins. Roberts is a special teamer. That's what he's been his whole career. So he had to play snaps. They now have two other wide receivers in the active roster. Be careful with Roberts. I don't think he plays much. CMC captain, Panthers D, Conley, Cooks, Miller, and Moore, good. So you're kind of going that Panthers onslaught. My only thing I'll say is like the Panthers D is expensive, so you're probably going to need a defensive touchdown, which is possible, which is definitely possible. Is no quarterback line risky? I probably wouldn't do it. Should I only stick to tournaments tonight? I mean, it's up to you. I saw on Twitter Chris Moore is starting. No, was that one? I saw like one report of Chris Moore starting, and it was from a source that I didn't trust at all. Was that Grand Slam picks? Because you can't trust that. Yeah, that's the only thing I saw, Chris Moore starting. Again, I don't think that happens. I think it's going to be Anthony Miller. But as I've said a couple times, you never know. Coaches do really dumb stuff. My argument for Anthony Miller is he's been getting a lot of hype so far in practice. And they traded for him. They specifically traded to get Anthony Miller. So I could be wrong, but I don't think that happens. Mills and Conley are Cooks and Miller. Again, if it was a reliable source, if it was like a beat writer or something like that, then I wouldn't. Then I would probably switch to Moore. I don't trust that source at all. Miller and Conley are Cooks and Miller. Mills and Conley or Cooks and Miller in GPP. Probably the second one. Conley and the captain. I don't like the value in the captain tonight. Conley or Miller flex. Conley's the much safer play. 4 Texans too sketchy. Crazier things have happened. I think you could get a relatively unique by just going 3 Texans, since most people are going to 5 or 4 Panthers. So, might be a little bit. Like, I'm just trying to think what that build would be. Yeah, I don't know if I go 4 Texans, but that's just me. People tripping. I'm picking the Panthers D, 5% chance to win with defense at captain. Yeah, they're expensive, right? They're expensive, 6.2K. Now, what you could do is, because again, you want in large field tournaments, you want to prioritize being unique. I'm fine playing the Panthers defense and then playing like Davis Mills and a couple of those receivers, because the way the defense gets there is a defensive touchdown. If the defense scores a touchdown, that means the Panthers are most likely playing from a lead. That means the Texans are going to have to air it out more. So it actually does make some sense if you're playing the Panthers defense to maybe stack Mills with 1 or 2 of his wide receivers and just hope they're playing from behind most of the game. Captain CMC, Conley, Miller, Moore, Darnold, David Johnson. Sure. My only issue with playing any Texans running back is don't expect a ton of playing time, right? There's 4 running backs are going to play, so that's the risk there. Darnold or Cooks. I think it's got to be Darnold is the safer option. Johnson or Marshall? Maybe a small lean to Marshall. I think that's relatively close, though. Like, Marshall's not going to play a ton either, right? I think he gets about half the game, as we've seen first couple games so far for Terrace Marshall. 51% last game. He played over 50% the game before, too. Both are pretty similar plays. What else, guys? What else we got? I can stay on for a couple more minutes here. Maybe go to 7 p.m. Central. Again, if you want to talk about complete punt plays in large field tournaments, Anthony Eclair will probably get some run. If you take a look, where do I have this? But 16% of snaps last game. Again, this is just like a complete dart throw. You never know, you can catch a touchdown. Rex Burkhead doesn't have any yard, or he does have one catch actually through 2 games, but he did play about 20% of the snaps last game. 18% for Burkhead. He's the flat min price, so if you want to take a dart in him, sure. Tommy Tremble has gotten a little bit of run too. He is the 3rd string tight end for Carolina. He played 38% of the snaps last game. So I'm just mentioning a couple complete dart throws if you want to get like super, super risky in large field tournaments. I think we cover almost everyone too on this slate. You're playing in a field of 10. Who's your captain? I think it's CMC. 15 over under Cooks PPR. I'll lean the under. Under on 15, I think. Am I crazy to captain anyone besides? No, you can do it. Like, I'm not telling you not to play Christian McCaffrey as the captain. I just think the consensus is some people are going to overthink it and go and try not to play CMC in the captain. I think more often than not, he's going to be in the captain, the winning lineup. But yeah, if you want to go to like a wide receiver in the captain, I think that does make some sense. I'm curious what the ownership is going to be. That is one thing I'm pretty curious about is what are we going to get ownership-wise in a guy like CMC in the captain? Or what's the ownership going to be in a guy like Davis Mills? What's the ownership going to be on some of these Panthers wide receivers? I'm curious. So I do think that Panthers onslaught is going to be pretty popular build. All right, 2 minutes left. Let's see, who's the Panthers' backup quarterback? Isn't it Driscoll tonight? Yeah, I think he's the backup. So like something happens to Mills, who plays awful. Driscoll probably comes in. And I'm not going to play backup quarterback, but thought I'd mention that. Like I don't think Deshaun Watson's not active. Let's see. Would you pick Hubbard anticipating a blowout? In a Panthers onslaught build, I think that's where you go to Chuba Hubbard. Not going to play a ton. Did have 8 carries last week, but CMC did go to the locker room then for cramping. So I think he probably played a little bit more than he would have if CMC would have stayed healthy the entire game. But yeah, in a game where the Panthers completely dominate Houston, that's where Chuba Hubbard I think makes sense. Basically the same play kind of as A.J. Dillon on Monday night, right? The way you're playing A.J. Dillon is you're kind of hoping for that Packers blowout, which in the fourth quarter, again, Aaron Jones didn't play much. There was a lot of A.J. Dillon. I mean, large field tournaments, you can make an argument for anyone. For my one lineup, no, but I'm from Detroit, so unfortunately the Lions. Anderson a captain, good with it. Yeah, he's yet to have a big game, but he's playing his former quarterback. He's running deep routes, right? And you could definitely see a breakout Robbie Anderson game. So if you want to go ahead and the captain, I think that's fine. Anderson and Darnold or Mills and more. Probably the first one. 50% CMC, 35% captain ownership. Okay. 35% feels about right, I think. Panthers D or Patriots D should I play this week? Who are the Patriots playing? Sorry. They're playing... I don't even know. But I think the Panthers D looks pretty good. Like, for like season long, obviously. In DFS, I think they're going to be a little bit overowned tonight, but I think you need to pick 6. Let's see. Who are the Patriots playing? I don't even know. The Saints. Yeah, I feel better about the Panthers D going up against a backup quarterback. But all right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. So appreciate you coming to check out the Thursday night Showdown slate live stream. I will be live Sunday morning for the main slate as well as Sunday night for the Showdown slate, and obviously Monday night as well. So you're going to see my face a lot. And yeah, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you do enjoy this content because, again, I'll be doing live streams for every single slate. But I appreciate you guys. Enjoy this game. Let's hope for some big winners, and I'll see you back here on Sunday.